I'm so glad you all made it. My name is Miss Morgan.
We work with local high school students. We bring them to a creek within their watershed.
It's a program that we do with high school students around Solano County. We do creeks in several of the different cities in the county. It's important for us to know about the quality of our creeks, and it's important for us to be able to judge about whether activities that are being undertaken to improve the quality of the creeks are actually being effective.
We do 3 different assessments to figure out if the water is healthy or not. We do a chemical assessment where we collect water samples from a creek and we see if there's enough dissolved oxygen, if there's nitrogen, if there's phosphates, which might give us insight into some human-induced factors that might be affecting our creek health as well, such as fertilizers from people's lawns or even things like soaps from people washing their cars on the street.
We will be measuring the physical characteristics of the stream. So we will be measuring the velocity of the stream, how fast the water's moving. We measure the depth of the creek and the substrate, what's on the bottom of the creek, and also what's surrounding the stream. So we'll be looking at the vegetation around the water. Having the students understand what the physical elements are really help them engage more with the biological and the chemical elements of the creek as well.
The name biomonitoring comes from the fact that we actually examine organisms that live in the creek. Some organisms are more sensitive to pollution than others, so by looking at the balance of organisms in the creek, we can get a good assessment of how healthy the creek is.
A microinvertebrate is a tiny organism that has no backbone, but it's small enough that you can see it with your naked eye, hence the name macroinvertebrate, or small living thing with no backbone.
We're looking inside the squares to see if we can find any macroinvertebrates, and so far we've been finding a lot of midges and black flies, and we found a lot of flatworms, which is remarkable. This is important because once we determine what types of invertebrates are in the water, we can know how polluted the water is.
Like, it not only tells the health of the creek over the time, but it also tells us what we're doing to it and how we can help it.
We get an idea of how healthy is it? Is this creek habitable? Can it support and sustain life?
We had several different lessons. Somebody came in and taught them everything that they really needed to know in preparation for coming out here. They actually brought some samples into the classroom where they got to look at the macroinvertebrates and see what they indicated, and then they did some chemical analysis, so they got to do everything that they're doing here, they got to do in the classroom first, so they got a chance to kind of practice so that when they came out, they were really experienced and already knew what they were doing.
One of the strong parts about this program, I think, is that the students are doing genuine science. We call it citizen science.
It's invaluable for them to get out here and get their hands on real science, the hands-on experience. So the stuff that they're doing actually will be used in the evaluation process for our watershed.
This is actual scientific data that they are collecting, and they're learning how to do that.
When I was in high school, I didn't know that this was even a potential career path. So that's something that I always try to tell the students about, letting them know that this is a rare experience, and by doing it, maybe it helps shape their future career.
We often get comments from kids about how they didn't realize that this environment existed in their town. They didn't realize they enjoyed being out here this much. It makes a connection to the environment that we hope in the long run will add to a sense of stewardship.